Chapter 19 of Heat, page 132. No baseball. Now, no Ellie. The next thing to go wrong would be Uncle Timo with Mr. Gibbs tomorrow. Michael could see it now. Every time he thought about it, just because of the way things were going, Uncle Timo would slip up somehow, or Mr. Gibbs would trip him up with some question he already knew the answer to, like one of Carlos' know-it-all TV lawyers. All of a sudden, Uncle Timo would be calling the ACS man dude, and before the ACS man left the apartment, he would figure out that Poppy hadn't run out on Carlos and Michael. Even worse, that he had been dead for almost 3 whole months. And then, Michael squeezed his eyes shut as hard as he could, taking the same walk up the hill that Ellie had taken. Michael just having told Manny that he didn't feel like practicing today. He didn't feel like doing anything. He just wanted to go home. When he got to 825 Gerard, he went upstairs to the empty apartment, the quiet apartment. Never had it seemed quite this empty to Michael. Quite this quiet. Never had he felt so alone. "Hello, little one," Mrs. C said after Michael knocked on the door. "Come watch Oprah with me? I think she's going to give away more cars today." Mrs. C had the same kind of recliner chair Poppy had, one that Michael sometimes had to help her out of if she'd been sitting too long. He wondered how she got up and out of it when he wasn't around to help her. Somehow, though, she managed. The way she managed to get herself up the hill to Gerard when she was on her way back from the Imperial Market, having worked out a system where she bought her supplies a little bit at a time. On days when she saw Michael in the back alley throwing against the pitchback, she would take him with her to the Imperial. "It's a two-bag day, little one," she would say. "Today you must be my assistant carrier, and maybe, just maybe, there will be a little candy in it for you when we get to the checkout." Michael knew it wasn't maybe at all. She would always let him pick out whatever kind of candy bar he wanted, Nutrigeous usually. He watched her now, moving slowly across her own living room, the room as neat and clean as always, smelling as always of flowers, even when Michael couldn't see the new flowers anywhere. Lately she was moving more slowly. He could see that her ankles, showing underneath her long summer dress, looked more thick and swollen than ever, as if they had been stung by bees. Michael worried sometimes that Mrs. C would be the next person he loved to leave him, even if he could not imagine his world without her in it. "We should write a letter to Oprah, the way some of these people do," she said to Michael now. "She is always trying to take care of strangers. Why can't she take care of my two boys?" Her two boys, Michael smiled. She made him smile as easy as Manny did almost. "Carlos and I don't need a new car, Mrs. C," he said. "Oprah would know what to do about all your problems," she said. "I believe she's an angel on earth, but not a Los Angeles angel." It was a small joke between them because Mrs. C talked about angels a lot and knew she so little about baseball. "No," she said, "I don't think your baseball angels are as much a help to us." "Now hush," she said. Oprah was almost over. Michael asked if he could get a drink of water. Mrs. C said there was a pitcher of iced tea she just made fresh in the refrigerator, and peanut butter cookies just out in the oven on the counter. He could have a couple if he promised to eat all his supper. Michael said he didn't know what Carlos had left him for supper, and Mrs. C said, forget what Carlos had left. She was going to cook him up some paella just the way he liked it. Michael left her with Oprah and went into the kitchen, where the baking smells was as familiar to him as everything else in Mrs. C's world. He poured himself a glass of iced tea, orange peel swimming in it as usual, and grabbed two cookies and when he came back into the living room, she had muted her set for the beginning of the 5 o'clock news. She said, "Now, what's on your mind, little one? There's always something on your mind when you come here, usually something making you sad." He told her all about Ellie then, trying to get in all the important parts, all the way to what had just happened down at the field. She raised an eyebrow. "So this is the girlfriend you were chasing?" "She's not my girlfriend." "Sounds like one to me," she said, showing him just the hint of a smile, "or you wouldn't be so upset about this." "She's just a girl who happens to be a friend." It's what Manny said about Maria Kueller all the time. What guys had to say. "Whatever you say," she raised an eyebrow at him to let him know she was playing. "I'm just trying to figure out what I did that was so wrong," Michael said. "You hurt her feelings for no reason, little one. That's what you did wrong, and you know it, because you are too smart not to know it." "I didn't mean to. It was the words that came out wrong." "You called her a liar, Michael." "I said she told a lie she didn't have to tell. Obviously she thought she did. She could have trusted me." Mrs. C put out her hand now, a gesture that both knew meant she wanted Michael to help her out of her chair. He did, and she shuffled over in her summer sandals and sat down next to him on the couch, still holding his hand. "She is the daughter of your hero," Mrs. C said, "but—" "Hush," Mrs. C said, the same way she had said it at the end of Oprah. "She's the daughter of the great baseball pitcher, and that is the only way everyone here sees her, no matter where she goes or who she is with. At school, up where she says she lives, in Riverdale, was it? At the Yankee games, too. Only now she makes two friends, Michael and Manuel, who have no idea who she is, who like her for herself. And she doesn't want to give that up right away because she likes being liked for herself, likes feeling normal for a change. You, of all people, must be able to understand that." Michael stared at her face. Her dark eyes set in the dark, smooth skin underneath her white hair with all the curls. They were close enough for him to smell the soap smell she gave off, as if she had just come out of one of the bubble baths she always talked about, where she would rest her weary bones at the end of the day. As old as she was, Michael could look at her sometimes and see what she must have looked like when she was young, and he was sure beautiful. "Okay," Michael said, "I messed up, big time. The same way I've been messing up all over the place." "No, you have not," she said. "It's everything that has gotten messed up around you, little one. But it's all going to work out, I promise you." "Right," Michael said. "Things have been working out so great for me, no reason they should stop now." "Don't sound so resentful, little one. You know what Grandma Cora says about people who are resentful in this world?" Michael knew it by heart. "It's like they take poison and then hope for the other person to die." She squeezed her hand. "For now, just take out all the things you care of. And this Ellie of yours is a good place to start as any. I don't know how. Call her and apologize. I still don't have her number, and it's not like I can call information and ask for El Grande's house. Leave a note for her at the ballpark. They'll never give it to her. You don't know until you try." "She only shows up when her father is pitching," Michael said. "And he doesn't pitch for a few more days, and the Yankees will be out of town by then." He started to feel himself filling up again. It was happening a lot lately, when he started to think about everything and feel like he was Chicken Little, and a bedtime story Papa used to tell him about the sky falling. Mrs. C knew. "Come here, little one," she said, pulling him close to her. "Let's play our game." It was the one where he would close his eyes and see the happy ending he wanted, where everything in the world worked out the way he wanted it to. She would make him go through his wish list, one item at a time. "Just do the baseball parts today," she said. "I don't feel like it today, Mrs. C." "You can do it," she said. "I'll even start you off. We found your birth certificate, and all of a sudden you're running out to the mound at the Yankee Stadium, waving to Carlos and me in the front row seats, and we cheer along with the rest of the crowd." Michael took it from there, holding on tight to Mrs. C, his eyes closed, the smell of her soap covering him like one of her soft blankets. Sometimes he still felt safe.